Namaste all. Welcome to Manomitra, Life is Beautiful. I am Susvara. And today we are going to talk about sports and mental health. We have with us a renowned sports and counseling psychologist, Ms. Ankita Jain. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Susvara. Namaskaram, everybody.
Ma'am, could you tell us what is sports psychology?
Sports psychology. Now, psychology itself is the study of humans and their behavior.
Yes.
But when you apply it to sports, it's so much more deeper because we're talking about the mental aspects of an athlete. We're talking about the entire team dynamic. When we're talking of team sports, we're talking of the sportsing culture and the ecosystem that athletes exist in. So that can be your coaches, parents. So there's so much in terms of mental aspects that impact our athletes every day. And a sports psychologist is just trying to make sure that every athlete is at their best, being able to give their best every single day.
I see. When do sports persons need a psychologist?
Well, I would say every day. We all need to feel good. We all need to be at our best every day. But usually the trend is that elite athletes tend to come to a sports psychologist because they have realized that I'm making the best effort, but I'm not able to get my best performance. But if I would honestly have to make a comment on this, every athlete needs it. A grassroots athlete needs it to build their confidence, to build their self-belief, and to be consistent every day, show up on ground. Sports is a very demanding field. So every single day, the kind of hard work that you have to do, you have to have that motivation, you have to have that dedication. And there can be so many days you don't feel good, you're not feeling motivated to wake up at 4 a.m. So from grassroots, if we are able to build the mental resilience of our athletes, by the elite level, we know that they'll be at their best.
Very true, ma'am. So do these athletes actually come to you, or is there some kind of a taboo around this whole thing?
Yeah, I wish it was easier. I wish every athlete understood the importance of mental training and actually didn't have to suffer the idea of, my God, going to a sports psychologist or a psychologist is so bad. So the taboo in India unfortunately stops many of us from going to a psychologist. Right? You and me alike, all of us here who are listening to this program, how many times you've had a bad day? How many times you've had a day you wish you had someone to talk to? And how many times you felt that maybe you, your neighbor, your friend needed a psychologist support? But then you thought, what will people think? And if that stops you, that's the taboo. Because we think going to a psychologist is bad, going to a psychologist is weakness. And if I go to a psychologist, my focus is what log kya kahenge? What will people think? My psychologist will help me and I will have a better life is not the focus. So unfortunately, our athletes also suffer the same. They hesitate to come to a psychologist and they'll end up coming way too late when it's too late in the game. Not that we can't work on it, but what if we go into preventive model? We go into coming early and we get stronger much faster without wasting those many days we have struggled.
That makes so much sense, yes. So when they do come to you, what kind of issues do they come to you with?
It's quite a range from the mere fact that if we understand every athlete is a human being. So like all of us have our daily stresses, family stresses, financial stresses, how am I going to fund my sport? They also have all those stresses, but every single day, they try to put all of it aside and come to the ground. So they're trying to play and perform every single day and not let that stress and that pressure get to them. But on ground also, they're having that challenge because they have to perform every single day. It's a very competitive field and they're struggling every day. So this chronic stress that you have, at one point, they'll end up breaking down. So that stress at home also gets to them. The peer pressure is getting to them. They're looking at their friends. If they're a teenage athlete and they're looking at their friends in this world of social media and Instagram, I see my friends having fun every day and I have to wake up and do 16 hours of training. It's a tough world. So when they do land up at a psychology clinic, they are struggling with self-confidence and self-belief because they have not been able to give the performance, the medals that they wanted, and they believe they have the talent, but they can't achieve that level. They are struggling with a lot of sleep issues because they have been stressed out for so long. Now they're not able to sleep at night. They continuously keep worrying and thinking about the next day and the next competition. Their sleeping affects their eating also now because they have been so overtraining that now they are exhausted and they don't feel like eating. Now, if this continues, then their body, due to chronic stress, is also more likely to be injured. So, a lot of them come to us with a lot of repeated injuries.
I see.
And because of this entire cycle, they have been struggling for so long, they don't even know what exactly is the issue they're coming to you with. They'll just come that, okay, I'm at a place where I've broken down now. I don't know, help me out.
I see. So when they come to you and you see that they're going through so much, it is very demanding, as you had already mentioned. So do you just talk to them or do you talk to their families and their coaches too?
We have to, depending on the issue and the age of the athlete. Now, if my athlete is very young, obviously they are very dependent on their parents for their daily, routine, the food. The parents pick and drop them to the academy. So parents are an important part of the ecosystem. Then again, the coach knows the best. In sports, we believe the coach is the person who's planning for them, guiding them, being their mentor. So coaches know the athlete very well. And if you don't work as a team, in sports, we have to work with all the stakeholders. So with the coach, with the staff, with the fitness trainer. So all of us have to always work together. And that is in the best interest of our athlete. So we also take care of the athlete, we also take care of the system, and all of us join hands to work together. The second part is what kind of issue your athlete is coming up with. If it is more about their own confidence and self-belief, they have been feeling anxious, they've been choking at the competition, then obviously you're going to work with the athlete. But if you realize that they have started maybe having substance abuse, maybe they are having, systemic issues in terms of, the parents are putting pressure, or they are struggling and the coach is saying that I try to tell my athlete, but they're not even listening during competition. If the coach is saying, I'm saying something, but this athlete is going blank, then what is the challenge there? Then we have to work with the system also.
I see. So I gather from what you've said that it's very necessary for sports persons to be mentally sound and healthy. Could you elaborate a little bit more on the mental health of sports people and how it affects their performance even further?
I would say it's not just the sports persons, everybody. I mean, all of us need to feel emotionally stable. We all want to feel mentally every day that I wake up, I'm happy and I'm ready for the day. And for a competitive performer, it can be a sports person, it can be a dancer, it can be a performer in arts domain, it can be a director and a CEO of a company. When you know that every day you have to show up and you have to be at your best, then obviously having the best mental state, which means you wake up in the morning, you feel confident to take the day, you're able to go through the day with mental agility, with mental sharpness, you're able to focus, and then you end the day on a happy note saying, hey, whatever I did, I was happy with my day. Now that is a boon for all of us. So for a sports person who has to train and prepare for years for that one day of competition, obviously showing up every day matters. And that mental strength which you build over the training years is going to show up that one day of competition for that few seconds and minutes where you have to be at your best.
I can understand. As you've been mentioning that there is a lot of things that go on with sports people and it is very demanding and they have to work very hard. But they may go through bad days where their performance may not be on the expected level. So how do they remain positive during that phase and what do you do to help them?
Okay. So how do we judge a bad day? Now my bad day can be I woke up in the morning and I'm feeling sore in my body because my previous day I did overloading and I don't feel like going to training. Now do I mean bad because my physical body is not feeling ready for the hectic schedule that I have ahead of me? Am I meaning bad because for many days I've been struggling going to competitions but not showing performance, which means now I'm like mood nahi hai. That means I don't feel like it. I don't have the mood. I've started disengaging from training and I don't feel like going because what's the point? Or a bad day because I went to the competition. I really thought I will have a great day and I'll really do well. But then I lost. Maybe to somebody who was lower ranker or maybe an amateur player. And therefore it's a bad day for me. So bad day can mean so different for every individual. Because what hurts us and what's our stress is very different. And depending on that, then we have to teach them coping skills. That, if this is your struggle, then what do you do matchingly to manage that struggle? So if my issue is, I'm feeling really bad because I lost the match to somebody junior to me, then I need to work on that. So what's going through my head? What is the mental part here? What is the emotional part here? We work as psychologists with the athlete to process that and work on that and then come back even stronger the next day.
You had just mentioned that many things could contribute to calling it a bad day. So when they do go through a slump or a phase like this, so is it mental or mostly physical?
It can actually be both, right? I have not slept well, my body is feeling sore, I am not eating well, I am still training the same hours every day even though I'm not feeling the best physically. So it can be a physical issue and a physical bad day. So therefore you work with your fitness trainer, you work with your nutritionist and you take care of your physical health. Now to know if it's a mental bad day, you'll have to look at their mood, you'll have to look at their thinking. So if they are often coming to coach and the coach is like, try this new technique, try this new skill, repeat it again 100 times till you perfect it. And the athlete is trying to avoid the effort, trying to say, coach nahi hoga, I will not be able to do this. I don't think this will work. So if you hear a lot of negative belief about their performance or lack of willingness to do the effort continuously, you start getting to know that, okay, they have started mentally slumping, they've started going down. And that's when you catch on to that part and then you work on it. So if I would know my athlete is saying that, oh, I cannot make effort because my body is hurting, but they're not going to the physiotherapist or the nutritionist or the strength trainer to correct it. So I know they're trying to avoid it. Therefore, I need to sit and have a session with them for counseling.
But what if they've been trying for really long but don't see any success in terms of their results? What to do then?
Well, what is it that they've been trying, right? Are they just doing, so when we say sports performance, we say there are 4 aspects in sports performance. You have to make sure you're doing your physical training every day. That means you have to be physically fit every day to show up to ground. Once you're in ground, the sport specific training has to happen, which is the skill training. Now, if I'm doing the correct training and I'm doing it every day and I'm becoming more precise, imagine I'm a tennis player and I'm doing the shot 100 times a day and I have perfected that, and then I'm not able to show that result on a competitive day, then I can say I made my effort. But if I've just gone every day, not made my shot precise, but expect my competition to be great, that's going to be an error, right? So I've done my second part also. The third part is tactical, which I've done. So I know how to play strategically. I know how to play smart. Now, once I've done all these 3, the fourth part is your mental part. So if I know I'm a great player, I've done my training every day, but then I go to the competition and I'm like, I don't think I gave my best. Or maybe I tried also and I didn't get my best. That's when the mental part comes in. So if they have been doing every day and they come to us saying that, ma'am, I have been going to training every day and I'm just not getting my performance, which means training, I find myself to be perfect. My coach also says you have the talent, you're doing really well. I have worked hard. But the day I went to competition, performance just doesn't come. That's when we say, oh, it's a mental challenge. And in fact, this is the most common challenge athletes come to us with. My performance is not coming. I don't know what's happening. I go back to training. I'm again perfect. I come back to competition. Again, there's a challenge. So we call it in technical terms choking. That the athlete, when they go on competition ground, they're just not able to give their best. So somewhere the focus is not there, or there is too much of anxiety inside their body, or the body and mind together are just not cooperating, which means that my body kind of knows what to do, right? And my mind has done this. It's there. It knows what is the next move. But then I just freeze. So my hands will not move. Right? If I'm a golfer, I'll stand there, but I'll feel blank. If I'm a tennis player, I'll be there, but my shot will not go correctly because my hand didn't complete the movement. If I'm a cricketer and my bowling will just not be the right arm action. Something goes missing in the mind and body coordination. And that's when we know it's a mental struggle and chronic stress which has started affecting them. So that's what we work on. We work on the anxiety and the stress around this entire performance part. Because if I start feeling anxious, that I have to perform and I cannot fail, I'm going to take so much pressure.
Of course.
And the second I take pressure, my mind is not functioning at 100%. It's not focused in my performance. It's more worried about the results, the future, my career, what will my coach think, what will my parents think, what will my audience think. And if I start stressing out about the entire world, my entire focus is divided. I am just not here where I have to be. My 100% has to be in sports at that moment, at that second, for that shot, for that movement, to give my best. So that's why we say sports is a brilliant place to be at. It teaches you how to remove the distraction and be at your focused best.
What can they do to sharpen this skill of being mentally present, and how can they coordinate their mind and body a little bit more?
So mind and body coordination is a practice. It's also a skill, right? Every day, if I do multiple things, and this is the concept of mindfulness now, I am sure a lot of us might have heard about it. Mindfulness means I am 100% immersed in an activity. But our current life, we are so excited about, oh, I can multitask, I can do multiple things. But are you doing them 100% attention? That means if I'm sitting on the toilet, I have my phone. If I'm eating, I have my phone. If I'm driving also, I'm listening to music. Nowhere in our daily life, we are able to 100% dedicate it to one task. So our brain is learning not to dedicate to one task. And for an athlete, because I have so much pressure, so much stress that I carry every day to the ground, I just have not learned how to 100% be here in every day. So the two basic things that they need to learn is, one is cut off. If my background, my home, my school, my college, my career, everything is there, which is a chatter in my head, shut that door when you come to sports, training ground. So the second you enter your ground or your arena, all the things that are happening in the background at home have to shut out. And the second thing is, what I do today is what I do today, which means I do not live in my past. Yesterday, I was a bad player, I didn't perform, my competition went bad, it does not matter. Give your 100% today. And yesterday, I was the number one player, therefore I don't need effort, that also doesn't count. Again, when you show up today, you do the effort today. Therefore, we teach our athletes to build a goal every single day. What is it you're going to achieve today? You focus on that, and only for today, for those few hours that you're training, you're just existing in that time. That's how you train your brain to every single day start focusing. And the more we train this mental muscle, it's a muscle. We go to the gym, we train our muscles. Train this muscle to 100% focus and be there every day. It'll become very natural to you to be able to do that in a competition.
I see. Earlier you had mentioned about competitions and how it can be stressful and impactful. So could you tell a little bit more about if there is a correct level of competitiveness that a sports person should have, or what happens when they have too much of it or too little of it?
Well, the way we put it is that if I am competitive, which means I am expecting better out of myself, it's a good thing because it's going to push me out of the bed every day and it's going to push me to keep wanting to improve. So having some level of competitiveness is great. In fact, we also say that some level of stress is good. So in a way, if I am every day bothered about my performance, about my competitive level, about what I'm going to achieve next day, I'm going to be ambitious, I'm going to be worried and caring about it, and I will show up and try harder every day. But the second it becomes too much competitiveness, which means it becomes too much of a stress, and I'm bothered about what is that player doing, what is that player eating, oh my god, that academy has that much infrastructure, which means again, going back to the previous answer, I'm not focused here. I'm focused about others. I'm focused about other academies. I'm focused about my past or future performance. I am not going to be able to actually be competitive, but I'm just going to be busy with comparison. So competitiveness is nice, and compete with your own self every day. What you did yesterday, try to do a bit better today.
That is really, really important for everyone, I guess. So we hear a lot of people talking about sportsman spirit, right? So where does that usage come from, and what kind of attitude do sports persons have towards their sport, and like what kind of attitude should they have towards their sport?
I mean, I would honestly say that putting your kids in sports and teaching them the sportsman spirit is the most brilliant thing you can do for your child, because the idea that I can lose today and I can still come back tomorrow, show up, be confident and try again. If I can teach that to every child, the world will be so different, right? Because so many of our children, if you look in the academic world, are struggling that, oh, I got less marks, they lose confidence and they lose interest in studies. So the sportsman spirit says that it's okay what happened yesterday, I'm going to try again and try again and try harder. The second thing sportsman spirit teaches you is it's a team. All of us win together. So if I'm playing football, all of us have to go ahead together. It's not just one player. You can't do solo play. So learning to participate with others, teaching about social roles, turn taking, there are so many things you learn as a sports person. And obviously, as a sports person, I learned to appreciate my body. I learned to respect my body. I learned to take care of it. Right? I learned to respect all my elders. I even learned to respect my staff, my groundsmen. These kind of human values that the sport teaches you, that is so brilliant, a part of sports. So I wish every child learns the sportsman spirit, and it actually makes you such a better human being.
That's so beautiful. You had just mentioned about team sports. So is sports psychology different in terms of individual and team sports?
Definitely. When we talk about an athlete choosing a team sport, they know they're going to be in an environment where they're going to have others to work with and coordinate with, and therefore the performance is codependent. Versus an individual sport wherein only I am there. I know I have to show up every day, train alone every day, and when I go to competition, it's just me who has to be there and show the performance. Right? So the environment and the expectation completely changes. Because the environment changes, my mental game then therefore changes. So the way I am going to be mentally in terms of how I'm going to think about the sport, how I need to be when I show up is totally different. And it's individual sport, I know it's a lonely game at times. And that's what my athletes say a lot of the times, that it's very difficult to keep showing up every day and knowing you have to struggle. Like my golfers will say, winter or summer, they have to show up 4-5 hours, train alone every day. There's nobody to cheer them, nobody to tell them, you're going to make it, keep going. So they have to be their own cheerleader. They have to motivate their own self. In a team sport, while it's fun to have that entire team spirit and, you know, everybody's supporting each other, it's so nice. There is also the fear and sense of competition that gets to these athletes, because constantly they're like, will I be benched or will I be selected this match? So that entire fear also gets to them, and therefore the aspects that we work on or the challenges and issues that we work on for an individual sport versus a team sport kind of differ and multiply.
Okay.
And I would also add, it also matters, are you playing sports which are part of summer games or winter games? Right? Are you playing racket sports? Are you playing water sports? Are you playing, sports in the snow? Or are you playing motor sports? So depending on the sport type also, the kind of challenge an individual versus an individual athlete will face, right? So if I'm a biker versus I'm a shooter versus I'm a swimmer, very different environments,
of course,
very different mindsets needed.
But all of us love sports. It's such a huge thing all around us. Could you tell us a little bit about a career in sports? Because we see so many people just going into medicine, going into engineering all the time, all around us. Could you tell us about sports careers a little bit?
It has. I think my generation has also seen where our parents said, choose one, engineering or medical. Other than that, we didn't know if careers existed. But honestly, there are so many careers. If you take up any career counseling guidance book also, there are 500 plus careers that you can choose from. And sports definitely is a beneficial space to be at. Not only is sports growing in our country, the kind of funding the government is giving, the kind of infrastructure that has started coming for a sports person, it's a never seen world that the sports persons are seeing now. We have brilliant exposure, we have brilliant support system, we have all kinds of expert staff now in India supporting our athletes. So we are looking at the next Olympics being a great performance for us because we believe sports does. We know a lot of infrastructure is being built because we do believe in our sports persons. And if that is happening, then sports is a great career. But looking at all the parents that feared to put their child into sports, even if your child doesn't become the medal winner tomorrow, an Olympian tomorrow, I still feel it's a brilliant idea to put your child into sports because of the indirect benefits that come. From the sports discipline to the health benefits to the camaraderie that a sports persons get. And if you look at the current crop of past ex-athletes in India, the kind of skill level and dedication they have in their job roles also, you become a changed person as a sports person. So I really feel that sports is the next big career that you can look at.
Could you tell us more about the impact that pursuing sport has on a person?
So like I was just mentioning, every single day, if I'm taking care of my nutrition, sleep, my schedule, I definitely am going to be a healthier person. So anybody who's gone through sports, be it recreational sports, even if I didn't take it professionally, if every single day I was waking up and playing cricket in the gully with my friends, I know that I want to take care of my health. And because I'm going to go play in the sun for 4-5 hours, I'm going to take care of my hydration. I'm going to take care of my nutrition. So by default, I become a healthy person who values my own body and takes care of myself. And because I know I have learned to accept loss, show up again every day, I become somebody who's mentally stronger. So in my long run in my life, I know I have to keep going on despite struggles. And because I have learned to share at my lunch table with my teammates, I become a better family person. Right? So there are so many indirect benefits. And because every competitive person has learned to dedicate and totally immerse themselves in whatever they choose, even with the next career that they choose, they're going to give their 110%. So you're a changed person as a sports person.
That's so amazing. But pursuing a career in sports can be quite challenging. What advice would you give to students and their parents, or what could their teachers do maybe?
If you have chosen a career, be it any career, the success formula is hard work. There is no shortcut. So engineering, medical or sports or any other career, work hard and stick to it for some time. Don't want quick results in 1 or 2 years. Stick around, give your effort. The results come for people who stick around and continue because they believe and they give their 110%. So if you want to do engineering medical, I totally support you. Do that, but do it with 100% heart in it. If you do that, you're going to be successful there. If you've chosen sports, it is again very competitive. Lakhs and lakhs of children give engineering exams, medical exams. Similarly, lakhs of kids are trying to be the next 𝗏𝗏𝗏 in India. But you have to be dedicated to it. You have to show up every day. You have to keep trying. And then there will be days you lack that self-belief. There will be days you feel like giving up. Make sure you have the support system. And that's when the value of friends, family, teachers comes in. Because if you have chosen that path, you need those motivators. You need the parents to believe in you. You need the teachers to not tell you, don't do sports. You need the teachers to in fact say, go ahead, brilliant that you've chosen this and do it. We will support you. You need the schools to say, go play. We will take care of your attendance. Even if you're not the next scientist, you're the next sport person and we are proud of you.
So you had just mentioned how important it is to have support when you're pursuing something as intense as sport. What are some other support systems that sportsmen can rely on, whether financially or training related?
See, for sports, we do have a lot of scholarships that are coming, and a lot of coaches also support athletes who can't fund themselves. If you're willing to work hard, you will find the right coaches. But beyond the technical training and beyond the support system supporting you, there is an entire whole ecosystem that you have to be aware of as an athlete. And this I especially say for kids in rural areas who are not even aware of the kind of support they need to go to, right? If I'm wanting to be an elite athlete, I need to understand how to maximize the output from my body. And here I talk about the sport science staff. Okay. So beyond your regular coaches who are the most brilliant person to guide you, and they for years and years have guided every athlete in nutrition and travel and competitive exposure. But coaches cannot do it all for you. The science has advanced and there are specialists who you can approach. For example, to maximize the physical output of your body, you have to go to a fitness trainer or a strength and conditioning trainer who will dedicatedly train your body in specific muscle training, so that depending on what sport you're in, your specific muscles which activate in that sport are trained and stronger. Then you need a nutritionist, because kind of energy output you need and the recovery you need because you have trained hard. So if I'm in a winter sport, I need a different nutrition in my body. If I'm in a water sport, I need a different nutrition in my body. So my nutritionist needs to be there. Then my physiotherapist and masseurs need to be there. Because once I do the training and come back to my room, my body needs to recover right. So I need those kind of support. And then my mental trainer needs to be there. So it can be a psychologist that you go to in person. It can be a psychologist which comes to your academy, or it can be a psychologist who you get in touch with online. You can also follow, there are so many psychologists who are putting brilliant content online now on social media. So there is no dearth of information, but first I need to know I need this information. Right? So more and more facilities are becoming available to support every athlete, and I wish every athlete becomes aware of this and makes the best use of all the sports science that is available now.
It's so interesting to find out there's so many levels and so many layers to this whole phenomenon. But how is sports psychology applicable to other walks of life?
So, we keep thinking sports psychology is just sports person and medal performance, but sports psychology is not just making sure an athlete gets the medal. Sports psychology actually is making sure that every single athlete is happy. So, I have this slide, if I can show that to you. right? So if you look at this, what we're talking about in sports psychology is one, the peak performance. So that every athlete, as they grow, they're looking at being the best that they can be. And while they are growing, their mental resilience, everything that we're taking care of. But we are also looking at their mental health aspect, right? Which we often miss in sports psychology discussions. We're looking at every athlete being healthy, every coach and staff being healthy. So sports psychology is also looking at the clinical sports psychology part, which is the optimal mental health of the entire sports ecosystem. So coaches, staff, parents are being taken care of. And then this is the other part that we take care of, exercise psychology, which is public mental health.
I see.
So public mental health and public physical health that we take care of. So the first part is physical literacy, right? Which we are saying that in exercise and sports psychology, we are trying to make sure every individual knows that they have to be moving every day, exercising every day, and how do we create active cities. So we're looking at exercise and fitness of the public aspect. And we get a lot of individuals who will talk about, I don't feel like exercising, or the doctor has told me if I move and exercise, it'll be good for my health, but I don't have the right motivation. Or exercise for them just means gym. I have to go to the gym. So there is an entire movement in India which is called the physical literacy movement, where we are trying to shift this idea that do not just look at exercise at gyms or heavy duty movement. Look at it from where you stand to the next level, but get moving, because that's good for your physical health also. You get physically active. It's going to avoid all non-communicable diseases. Right now, WHO says that's the biggest issue, right? So if you have NCDs, which is non-communicable diseases or lifestyle diseases, the best solution is to get moving. So if you have hypertension, obesity, depression, you get moving, you get better. So it's a public health concern that we're looking at. And because you're not moving, because you get lifestyle issues, then you have mental health issues. So as a mental health advocate also, it is my responsibility to encourage people to move and exercise, because I know that if I just keep sending my patient to the psychiatrist and they just keep taking medicines, they'll be forever dependent on it if they do not do the other parts of the treatment. The other parts of the treatment being counseling and movement. So a sports psychologist not just takes care of elite athletes, like I said, for the medal, it takes care of the entire system, and they also take care of public health in terms of exercise psychology.
So I guess it's very important for all of us to be active, right?
Yes, it is.
So out of everyone, there might be some people who have exceptional talent or exceptional skill in a particular sport. How do we recognize this talent?
If I have exceptional talent, I don't think I can hide it. It is going to show, right? Now, who is going to spot this talent? If I'm just going to play in my home ground, then probably my friends and neighbors know about it. But that's where I stay. So we do have experts in India from different football clubs, cricket clubs, different academies that travel across India and spot talent. And they do approach tribal athletes, rural athletes, urban athletes to come and join the government centers, and government then supports these young talent to grow and become elite athletes.
When we talk about a career in sports, we see that a lot of parents put their children into cricket mostly. So what other sports can they go to, and how do they choose where to go?
It is the truth right now that we believe cricket is the only field that can bring you laurels, medals and money. And for many years, parents, if they ever choose sports as a career for their child, push them into cricket. But so many more sports, and because there are so many sports which we have been ignoring for years, lesser competition. But if you don't even look at that, you look at the statistics right now, you look at the kind of money a footballer in India a pro kabaddi player in India or even an e-sport online gaming athlete is earning, you will realize there is a world of sports beyond cricket. I personally have met athletes. When we talk of athletes, these are sports persons, or you can call youngsters, 14-year-old youngsters playing online gaming and earning 2 to 3 lakhs a month just through online gaming.
That's huge.
Yes, it is a $200 billion industry.
Wow.
So if we want to look at sports as a career, let's open our eyes and look beyond the world of just 1 or 2 sports that we know. There are so many sports. Like I mentioned earlier, there is summer sports, there is winter sports. In India, the people who take up skiing are very less. The people who take up other winter sports, maybe just in the north of India, right? Maybe your child has the talent for that. Maybe your child has the talent for water sports, maybe racket sports. So spot what is the talent in your child, the physical, natural abilities that they were born with, and encourage that in them, because maybe they are meant for that physical ability to show and achieve great heights in those brilliant other possible careers they can have in sport. And if you're not just a sports person, you can also be a sports management person. You can be a support staff. So careers in sports doesn't just mean I have to play the sport. Like I myself am a sports psychologist. So if I know I don't want to play, but I can be supporting the dreams of other athletes. So careers in sports are many and plenty. You can be behind the scenes or you can be on the ground, and you can be on the ground in different sports. So spot the talent in your child. Don't just tell them to do engineering, medical, because we have not explored career possibilities and we do not believe anything else will work out for our child. In fact, instead of pushing them into careers which will not be best for them, let's find out what's best for my child, best suited to their intelligence, best suited to their talent ability, and let's make that happen so that our child also is happy and a career which they have to go every day is a happy place for them.
So in conclusion, what would you say are the takeaways for everyone that's watching?
The takeaway first, take care of your health, and health can be physical and mental health. If you're a sports person, then again, don't just focus on the first 3 aspects, which is the technical training, tactical training, and physical fitness. Also remember mental health and mental fitness. That means mental toughness, mental resilience, and your emotional stability are important for your peak performance. And if you're a parent, then encourage your child to do what they are talented and meant for. Support them. If you are a sport parent, I know you want your child to do best, but creating immense pressure on them will not help them achieve the results faster. Everybody has to go through the effort. So if it's 2 years of training before the best performance, then they need to put the effort of years of training. Don't look for shortcuts. Give your child the best support you can in terms of nutrition and other support science staff, and your child will definitely show results. If you're a coach, I know all of us love to do it all, but sometimes do take the help of support staff, because that will reduce your stress and you can focus solely 100% on coaching. And if you're other support science staff, make sure you talk to other ecosystem people who are working with that certain athlete, because you may put some other ideas in the athlete's head, somebody else might be talking different, and it can really confuse the athlete. So if you're a sports science staff or a specialist sitting in your medical center and an athlete is coming to you, please do a holistic assessment and talk to other staff members who are looking at that athlete. And if you're a general audience who are not into sports but just love sports like us, enjoy sports but believe in your athletes. The day they fail, do not discourage them on social media. Believe in them and always encourage your sports persons. They're working for the country, right? They're working hard, they're showing up every day. your support means a lot for every athlete. So always encourage your athletes. And for everybody watching our show, take care of your health. Maybe that WHO recommended medium activity every day, 10 to 15 minutes of a walk every day for your mental health and happiness.
Ma'am, how do we reach out to you afterwards?
I can just show my contact details on screen for everybody who wants to reach. So this is my social media. You can follow me or message me. I will reply to all the questions you have. You can be an athlete who's looking for mental health support. You can be a parent who has question about their child, or you can be a coach who wants a lecture in their academy. I'm always happy to help. And this is my promise to everybody. You have my support always. If you are feeling dejected, if you're feeling sad, or if your friend is feeling sad, message a psychologist. Beat me, beat somebody else. Beat the mental health helplines. Every psychologist is dedicated to helping out, and we will make sure we can do our best for you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing such valuable information with all of us.
Happy
This
to.
is Manomitra. Life is beautiful. We'll meet you in another episode. Thank you.